everybody, and welcome back to another video. So if you can't tell, we're in my little tiny garage and it's a little bit dark outside. So why don't we start this video off right and get up to the shop. Alright guys, so if you can't tell, we have finally made it up to the shop with Onyx here. In today's video, if you can't tell by the title and thumbnail, today we're going to be giving you 5 reasons of why to buy a 1994 or 1995 SN95 car. Now some of this will pertain to the 96 to 98 cars as well, but this video is mainly pertaining to the 94, 95, the 5.0 liter cars. And if you guys could please ignore the stuff down there, just some stuff we were working on yesterday. Didn't quite get it all finished up for the weekend. But anyways, we got these two things right here, which are really nice, which will take the attention away off of those down there. Alright guys, so we're gonna get on into this video, and number one for the reasons why you want to buy one of these beautiful SN95 cars here is mainly for the price point. Most of the times you can find these cars for fairly cheap. They won't be the prettiest car whenever you get them, but whenever I got this car, I got Onyx for $1,500, and that was 6 or 7 years ago. I think it was 6 years ago. Matter of fact, it was 2015, so yeah, it was 6 years ago. Now, whenever I got Onyx, the car was definitely nowhere near the way it looks now. It was definitely had a long way to go, which I'll probably throw up a picture of what it used to look like when I first got the car. If you can't tell, it's definitely came a long way. So like I was saying, you can definitely get these cars for pretty cheap, depending really on where you are. Now, if you're out west or more up north, most of the time these cars go for a little bit more money just because of the location you're in. Typically, you can find a car that is decently nice, looks pretty good to start with. The paint might be faded or something like that and have a little bit of body damage. But most of the time you can find them fairly clean for around, you know, $2,000, I'll say $4,500 is the cheaper range. Now don't get me wrong, you can find some really cheap ones. Like you can find some that are really beat up, you know, just a roller, no engine or transmission. And you can probably find those for, you know, $300, $400, $500. And I'm not gonna say that those are off the table, because like I say, this is mainly a video pertaining to project cars and a car that is going to be, you know, built along as you go. Now I will say, in the past years, these cars are definitely going up in price, and they'll continue to go up. I don't know how much they'll go up, but the SN95 cars, you know, even, you know, 94 to 98, they're known as more or less the redheaded stepchild of the bunch. Like, it's 50-50. Either you love them or you hate them. There's really no in between. But of course, me personally, I love the SN95 cars. It's actually my favorite body style that they have, other than some of the classics and, you know, the newer one. I like the S550 a lot too, and the S197. Mainly my favorites are the 13, 14 years. So maybe one day I'll end up picking up one of those, but for right now, we're just gonna keep piddling with Onyx, and I also got an F100 that I need to start putting back on the channel as well. So with all that being said, that brings us to the second reason of why you should buy one of these SN95s for a project car, and that would be they make great project cars. And I'll give you some reasons why I think they make a great project car. So one being, they're very versatile, as far as you can set these things up for a good drag car. You know, you can take and you gut them down. They're not heavy at all. They're lightweight. They definitely make good drag cars. You can also take and turn them into a show car. These cars make excellent show cars. Once you get these cars done and done right, these things can be absolutely amazing looking. And one of the cars that I actually, probably my favorite SN95 that's on any social media at all, is probably Merchant SVT. I think his car is a 97 Cobra. Definitely didn't skip out on anything. That thing is absolutely immaculate. And also they make for great drift cars. Like, they have a lot of aftermarket stuff for drift setups on these things, and already from the factory they make decent power. They're not nothing crazy, but if you take and gut these things down and also take and put your angle kits and stuff like that on them, they make really good, you know, drift cars. And with some bolt-ons, they'll have plenty enough power to do exactly what you need. This one kind of goes along with the drag setup, but they make great street strip cars. Like, you can take and turn it into something that you can daily and, you know, take up and down the highways and on trips and stuff, but also something you could take to the drag strip and have a lot of fun with at the same time. And that is kind of the direction I went with Onyx here. I pretty much wanted to do a street/strip build for this thing, and as of right now, it's doing everything that I wanted to do. But we do have a couple surprises coming for Onyx here really soon. It is a pretty big swap, we'll say. We'll just say it's a swap. It's definitely going to help out Onyx and definitely make it stronger. We'll give you a little hint there. because we do take Onyx to the strip a little bit, and there's just some stuff that we just, you know, we don't want to break. So that brings us to number 3, which is going to be these things are fairly cheap to build. Like most of your 94, 95 parts for the 302 are fairly inexpensive, especially whenever it comes to your bolt-on stuff. Most of your bolt-on stuff for these cars are fairly cheap. You can get cold air intakes for a good deal. Also, throttle bodies aren't too bad in price as well as headers, exhaust, you know, things of that nature that pertain to bolt-on stuff. And even whenever you get into your fairly deep bolt-on stuff, like whenever you get into your aftermarket heads, your camshafts and stuff like that, roller rockers, really in today's terms, they're not too expensive. When it comes to building the 302 versus the 4.6, the 302 is definitely a lot cheaper as far as, you know, camshafts are cheaper, heads are cheaper, even bottom end stroker kits are cheaper. And also with the 5.0s compared to the 4.6 liters, these definitely make more power per dollar than the 4.6 liters. Not saying the 4.6s can't make good power, you know, on a, say, a naturally aspirated build kind of like this one is. And that's not saying that the 4.6s are bad. It's just, you know, it takes a lot more money to build them to get the horsepower you can get out of them that you would want, compared to what you can get out of a 302 right here. And definitely not throwing any shade towards the 4.6 cars. I like them. I just, you know, I prefer the 5.0 liter myself. They're a lot easier to work on, a lot easier to do stuff to. And also, like I said, horsepower per dollar. It's cheaper to make one of these go faster than the 4.6. Speaking of 302s, look at how pretty this thing is. Ooh wee, it could be better, but it looks nice the way it is, and I like it. But anyways, guys, all joking aside, we got some upgrades coming for Onyx. You'll see here soon, but you gotta wait. So that brings us to number 4, which is kind of along the lines of the third reason why I would buy an SN95 for a project car. It's definitely gonna be that the aftermarket on these things are just very vast. There's a lot of aftermarket parts out there for these SN95 cars, 94 to 98, and even for the 99 to 04s. I mean, there's just so much aftermarket parts out there for these things that you literally could build probably whatever you want. Like I said, drift, drag, show car, street strip car. They have everything out there you would ever need for one of these things. And of course, speaking of aftermarket parts, like for your chassis stuff for 94 to 98, they're pretty much all going to be the same price because they're the exact same thing. I mean, literally everything from the caster camber plates to the springs to the shocks, rear control arms, lower control arms, cross members, except for the 4.6 cars, they're pretty much all the same. And speaking of upgrades, I gotta get a fuse panel cover for this thing. But anyways, guys, yeah, number 4, definitely gonna be the aftermarket for these cars are just so wide. Like, I mean, you can literally get anything you want. I know I already said that, but there's literally nothing out there that you can't get for these cars. Okay, I lied. For a 94, 95 car, you know what you can't get? You cannot get one of these freaking power steering pump pulleys for anything. Nobody sells them anymore. There's no new old stock at the dealership. They quit making them, I can't remember what year, but anyways, no aftermarket companies make some that I know of. I've looked. So if you ever need to get a power steering pump pulley, you're gonna have to hit up a junkyard and hope they have one, or get one offline like I did. And if you go and get one offline, that little pulley right there cost me $100. That's about the only thing I know you can't get for this car right here, which is really sad. I mean, really, it's a power steering pump pulley for a 94, 95 Mustang. Like, there's still like millions of these cars out there that's still driving on the road today. But you know, you can do what you gotta do. So that brings us to number 5, our final reason for the reasons why to buy the SN95 is definitely, these cars are still beautiful even in today's standards. Like, these cars are absolutely just, God, I love these cars so much. If you ever see one of these out in a parking lot somewhere and it looks, you know, I'm not trying to brag on mine or nothing, but if it looks as good as mine and you see it sitting in a parking lot, you're a car guy, you look at it and you go, man, that's a nice car. Or that they've took really good care of it and took and, you know, built something that they are proud of. Even the interior of these cars in today's standards, I love the dual cockpit look, the way both sides sort of match. I just think that's really cool. And a lot of people actually upgrade these dashes into the Fox bodies, and it looks really good in a Fox body car. And just on around to the back of these cars absolutely still look great. Now mine looks a little better now that I got that LSB custom spoiler. You should definitely go check them out, lsbcustomspoiler.com, or on Facebook or Instagram. I'll link it down in the description below. But look, I actually did get the wing to fit good. Got all the gap out on both sides, the left and the right side. As you can tell, it's all flush on the paint now. Looks really good. And literally all I had to do was just work with it a little bit, take and hold down on this just to keep it held down. Like I said, when I installed this spoiler here, I think it's because the trunk has some body work done to it to where it filled in the holes for the spoiler delete that I did. But that's gonna bring us to the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed making this video. We gotta keep the SN95 gang alive because, like I said, these cars, I feel like they're a dying breed and people's not building them as much as they used to. And you know, it's kind of sad. So I'm trying to get the SN95 love out there for the 94, 95 cars, even 94 to 98. Like I say, the body style's the same. My heart's where the 302 is. So if you're thinking about buying one of these cars, get out there, spend the money, buy one. I promise you, you won't regret it. But as for me and Onyx here, that's gonna do it for this video. We'll see you later.